Hello, we're live. Toby, can you hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening from at this time. My name is Prince Will Adedo, co-founder Empower Nurses Consult, and with me today in the studio, I have my team member, Toby from Empower Nurses Consult. Toby is our new media manager, and of course, we're going to be having some guests today joining us on the live section, where we're going to be discussing extensively on how nurses from Nigeria, nurses from around the world can actually secure a valid work permit to get a job and, of course, to work legally in Canada. I'm sure, like many of us already know as nurses, I mean, part of the top five destinations to work in the world includes Canada, United Kingdom, United States of America, and of course Australia. And with the recent development in healthcare and advancement in Canada as well, we've seen a lot of provinces coming up to say, oh, nurses can now get our license. For example, with province of Nova Scotia, provinces like Alberta, provinces like Ontario, provinces like New Brunswick. But most of these regulatory body actually gives you opportunity for you to get your license, but barely have opportunity to actually get migration. So we're going to be having two senior level executives in the area of immigration, business development management, and of course, career advisory. Both of our guests today, they've been in the industry for quite a number of years, and they have proven track record and excellence in supporting candidates and applicants, as well as aspirants like yourself, to actually get work permit, to get access to school opportunity, and of course, study permit in Canada. But for today, we're going to be focusing on nurses, how nurses can actually get a work permit in Canada, and how to secure a decent job. All right, without wasting much time, permit me to introduce the spectacular, remarkable Mrs. Obi Law. She's coming joining me she's a senior partner at Canada Hub Partners. And of course, we also have right here Mr. Daniel Leonard. Mr. Daniel Leonard is also one of the senior partners.
Hi.
Yeah, good to have you, Mr. Obi Law. You want to say good afternoon to us or good morning? Is it morning in Alberta?
Yes, it's morning here. Thank you very much, Empower Nurses Consult, for having Canada Hub here.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll let my partner, I'm sure he wants to say something.
Yeah, Mr. Daniel, I want to hear
All
your
right.
voice.
Thank you for having me. I'm currently traveling. Just we're trying to engage some partners across the globe. I'm currently in West Africa traveling, and that's why I'm most likely in the same time zone as you and currently stuck in traffic. So I'm taking this from the car, so bear with me.
Oh, no.
But it is me, and all the information that you would have gotten if I was sitting in my office, you will still get with me being in the car here. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to having a great conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel, for your
You're
sacrifice
welcome.
in making it to the studio despite your busy schedule. Guys, I mean, I think first of all, before we start, you still have an opportunity to take up the link and actually share it across your network on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on Facebook. Get as much nurses as possible. I think it's going to be the first time we are going to be having a live section relating to work permit for nurses in Canada. The truth is, as a nurse in Nigeria, if you want to get to speak to, let me say, a career advisor or an immigration consultant about how to obtain a job in Canada or how to obtain a work permit, you would definitely just go to walk into that office and start asking your question. You must have, before time, schedule a meeting, an interview, or probably pay for a consultation, which won't be less than $100 or $200 to be able to speak to this type of people. So today, I want you to take the opportunity to be here to listen real time to the answers and how they're going to support us with this information. You are getting $200 for free being in this live section today. And it's my prayer that you're able to maximize the opportunity and take advantage of it. Once again, thank you so much, our Canada Hub partners, for joining us on this live today. As you can see, I'm super excited, and I'm very, very sure nurses are excited as well. So I'm going to start with Mrs. Obilo. In England, there's a pattern where a nurse can just write an exam called IELTS and take a medical exam called CBT. And next thing, that nurse automatically can get a job and get sponsorship to work in England. Free accommodation, everything done just by writing two exams. But in Canada, we've not seen that opportunity extended to nurses from Nigeria. So I want to ask a direct question, Mrs. Obilo. Is it possible for a nurse in Nigeria to sit down in Yanokpaja, to sit down in Egbeda, to sit down in Igoto, and get a work permit to arrive in Canada? Mrs. Obilo.
All right. Thank you very much for that question. I'd like to reiterate here or say here, first of all, what Canada Hub is into. We're a business consulting firm. So we're into investment and immigration also. So there are some questions that according to the Canadian law, of which Mr. Principal, you know very well,
Yeah.
um, such questions are only allowed to be answered by our immigration consultant. I know in Nigeria they are used to he's an agent. An agent can wear so many hats, right?
Yeah.
In Canada, no, an agent or a company can't wear so many hats. And
Yeah.
that's why we have our immigration department.
Yeah.
So there are questions we can answer, and the rest we're going to refer you to our immigration consultant or our legal head, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So, um, just so you know that I am not an immigration consultant. Mr.
Absolutely.
Daniel Lowen is not an immigration consultant. We have our immigration team that answers so many specific or immigration specific questions. But then I'm going to go to the question you talked about now. So
Yeah.
basically, in Canada, yes, you can actually stay in Nigeria or you can be in Nigeria and actually get a work permit directly to come work not as a registered Canadian nurse, right? But we have pathways whereby they can come in. And over the years, also, I know that Empower Nurses Consult has been that gap to facilitate nurses coming in to work as registered nurses.
Yeah.
So it is also good that while we're doing our own part, when these nurses come in, of which I'll explain shortly how they come in, when they come into Canada, you have Empower Nurses Consult on ground in Canada to guide them, the step-by-step processes of which they can now become a registered Canadian nurse. Now, the pathways that we have in immigration consultants, in Canada Hub partners, is just a pathway that would allow you legally come work in the health sector. So you come work in the health sector while working there. It's also a pathway to become a permanent resident.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just wanted to establish the fact about that. Yes, it is possible to actually get a job in Canada, either in the health and social care space. And of course, Ms. Obilo, as rightly said, it is very, very possible for you to be able to get a job in Canada. And yeah, so guys, you get to put that in mind that it is possible, just to erase any form of doubt or concern that
Yeah.
you might. Because people believe that it's not possible. Why can I get a job in Canada? But yeah, you can actually get a job. I also want to be talking about it extensively on the scope of job you can practice, and of course how to support your transitioning when you eventually arrive in Canada. Okay, so the next question is going to be now talking about requirements. So now nurses are aware and they are abreast about the fact that they can actually get a job and can get support from your legal team to apply for a work permit. So now, what should a nurse from Nigeria have in his hand or in her hand as requirement needed from your organization to support them through the process of getting a work permit and a job in Canada? So I want you to go to tell us, like, what are the requirements involved? What should I have in hand to get a job and to be able to apply for a work permit in Canada?
Okay, so basically, coming into Canada to work, you'd work in the capacity of a nurse aide, what we call a nurse aide, or what we call a nurse orderly, or what we call a personal support worker. Now, with your certification as a registered nurse in Nigeria, you're eligible to get a work permit in that capacity or in that level straight
All right.
up. You
Yeah.
don't need no IELTS. All you just need is your years of experience and then your certificate, because we will verify, that you're actually a registered nurse in Nigeria. Now, sometimes people ask us, why do you have to verify? The truth is, this verification is actually good for you, because when you come into Canada, an Empower Nurses consult is taking you through the process. I mean, it's half of your job being done. Some
Exactly.
people come in with, I don't know, they're not verified, and
Yeah.
they intend to want to work in Canada or transition with Empower Nurses Consult as a nurse.
Yeah.
So you don't need nothing except your certificate. You don't need to write the IELTS because you're already from an English speaking country,
Yeah.
which is Nigeria. Nigeria, English is our first language. So that's all you need. And of course, your years of experience, and of course, your referral letter from your boss or your employer saying that, yes, Mrs. A or Miss A has worked in this hospital as a registered nurse in this capacity. And that's all
Wait,
that you need.
or
The
maybe
others are legal requirements that, like I said, our immigration team takes over from there.
awesome. I mean, guys, you've heard it from the experts, you've heard it from the horse's mouth. For you to be able to get a job in Canada in the health and social care space, either as a nurse assistant, as a PSW, or as a CCA, you do not need to write any professional examination. Your license from Nigeria, from the NMCN, actually suffice for you to be able to get a job in Canada. And I'm sure this also applies to our colleagues in India, in Philippines as well.
Mhm.
From Indians on the live section. If you have a license from Botswana, if you have a license from Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, you can actually get support from Canada Hub Partners. And Canada Hub Partners is not just a Nigerian business development agent. They are actually an international organization. And of course, they are resident in Canada for now. So you could actually key into this organization and get support that you need to apply for your job and of course to get a work permit. So she has mentioned it, you only need your license, you don't need to write IELTS exam. Lots of nurses, whenever they hear the name IELTS, they'll be like, oh my God,
Yeah, they're scared.
this is a must. So now there's a pathway to actually take that monster away from you and actually get opportunity to actually come to Canada. So guys, there's no IELTS examination, and all you need is your license and years of experience that can be proven from a regulated employer. Okay, from your employer, so, okay, this person have actually worked in the capacity of staff nurse, as a respiratory nurse, as a medical nurse, as an intensive care nurse, geriatric nurse in the last couple of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of years as well. So is there any age restriction for nurses that can actually take this opportunity? Any age restriction?
Actually, I would say no, but in the past years, we've had nurses from the age of we've actually had nurses from the age of 48 and below.
Okay.
Yeah, we've not had any nurse above that age. So from our experience, that's what I've seen. 48 years and below are welcome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's just important to know that the older you are, of course, you have more years of experience. I mean, so which actually will help the health sector in Canada. You understand, basically, especially for the long-term care homes and all that capacity where they'll be working.
Oh, great. Mr. Daniel, you still with us, right? Can you still hear us loud and clear? Just want to be sure you're still with us, Mr. Daniel. Okay, I think Mr. Daniel is still with us. I can see him from the studio. When you're able to unmute your mic, we'd like to also bring you into the conversation so you can also share some word as well. I can see some people who are care assistants from Nigeria, some people who have like a level 3 diploma in health and social care. Some people have actually completed a nursing assistant program, and some people actually like, okay, apart from registered nurses, I mean, I'm a nurse assistant in Nigeria. You are saying you're bringing nurses to come and work as nurse assistant, but me, I'm already a nurse assistant. I already have at least 2 years experience working in a hospital or working in a nursing home or a domiciliary center. Can I also get opportunity to work as a nurse assistant in Canada without having a nursing degree?
Yes.
Wow.
So you can actually get a job through LMIA. Now, I'd like to explain what LMIA is because a lot of people don't know what LMIA is basically.
Okay.
Now, LMIA is called the Labor Market Impact Assessment. Now, an LMIA is what a Canadian employer will get to be able, I'm just giving a layman's term,
Yeah.
a layman's explanation, so everybody can actually grasp what an LMIA is. Because most times we hear people say, "Oh, I got a job in Canada. I got a job in Canada as a nurse." And the first thing I always tell people to ask them is, "How did you get a job as a nurse with just an employment letter?" No, you need an LMIA to come in here to work in the capacity of a nurse assistant, a personal support worker, or a nurse orderly or aide. Now, a Canadian employer would need that document to be able to employ foreign employees to come work for them in Canada. Now, yes, if you have your experience in a nursing assistant in Nigeria, you're certified and you have your work experience, you are also eligible to apply for that program and come into work in Canada. And it also applies that you do not need IELTS. You just need a certification of training, of which we would also verify. Basically, it doesn't matter where you got it from. Basically, a college anywhere would so also verify. And then you do not need the IELTS. You just need all that and your work experience, and that's it. You apply.
Oh, great, amazing. Mr. Daniel, whenever you're available, please let us know so that we can also bring you up. We also have some questions for the team. I mean, Ms. Obilo is here, Mr. Daniel is here. We need to engage you. So, guys, for those of you who are not registered nurses, who do not hold a valid license from Nigeria, you've just heard it from the consultant that you can actually apply to get the job in Canada if you are registered, like you have a certificate to prove that you have a care assistant training certificate and you also have the experience. I think the most popular conversation here is that have the educational requirement and have the work experience, and
Yes.
everything
You're
is,
good to go.
yeah, you're going to good to go as well. So I mean, Mr. Bilo have mentioned that there's no specific examination required from you. Even if you are CCA, you do not also need to take the IELTS examination.
Mhm.
So in the last couple of years, Mr. Obilo, how have you been able to support nurses? What does it what has been required of you to be able to support nurses in terms of time processing? How long has it taken? Like, okay, an average nurse that you've helped from Nigeria, how long did the entire process take from helping them get a job till they actually get referred to your immigration team till they actually arrive Canada? Because an average nurse, if they want to key into this type of initiative, they want to have an idea of how long am I going to expect to take in this process. I understand that migration and getting a job are not objective. Like you cannot actually say this is today, you get this tomorrow. It
Yeah.
has a time frame. But generally, just to give a broad perspective, how long will you say it takes now in 2023? How long will it take a person who is in Nigeria in May to actually arrive in Canada after getting a job?
Okay, so I'd also like to address this aspect of people coming to us and saying, I have a friend who got a job in Canada and the company told them that they were going to be in Canada within 1 month or 2 months.
Wow.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, it's good if they find such people that can facilitate it. Canada Hub would also like to partner with them to make it faster. I mean, yeah, we have
Yeah.
a backlog of um, potential, you know, people who want to come in, right? So if you come to us and you tell us, I have somebody who's going to make it work for me in 2 months, please would want to work with such people. Now, this goes to say that there are processing times, even in the Canadian immigration policies for different countries. And we work, our immigration team works with this processing times, basically. But that is not to say, and there's something I always tell people that Canada will teach you patience. I want to also
Absolutely.
believe that, yes, I also want to believe that Mr. Prinsville can
Testify.
attest to this
Oh, yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he also has colleagues who came in through us,
Yeah.
and we are talking about they waited for like a year plus 8 months.
Wow.
We had people who waited for 16 months. We had people who waited for almost 2 years. Now, this is not to say that everybody's own goes that way. We've also had cases where within 4 months, they've called them up for visa request and passport request. You
Yeah.
understand? But on a safe side, we like to give everybody a time frame of 57 weeks. Now, that 57 weeks can actually turn out to be 5 weeks processing time from when your visa is um, applied, or when we put in, or when our legal team puts in your visa application, basically.
Yeah.
Now, you start counting from when you do your biometrics, because actually, um, the immigration people can't do nothing unless you've given your biometrics.
True.
So in our company, our legal team will always say you start counting the processing time from when your visa application has gone in, and then you've given your biometrics. That's when they can start reading anything that was submitted. So would say within 6 months to 1 year. Now, I like to reiterate again, there are some people who came in here within 2 months, within 3 months, within 4 months. On our Instagram page at Canada Hub Partners, there are some reviews that are there where you have people coming within 4 weeks. You also have people who come in within 18 months. But then, like I said, Canada's immigration system will teach you patience. You have to wait, because nobody can actually come out and tell you for a fact that, look, I promise you, in 2 weeks, you're going to get your visa. But then we like to advise that you work with the timeline that immigration has given. You can also find that on their website. They have different timelines for different applicants from different countries. You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, that answers that.
All right, thank you very much. I'm talking about timeline. I mean, some people had 57 weeks. They'll be like, no, 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 no. Let me just leave this on first. 57 weeks care. When we already have something in front of us, I think I'll leave. So, guys, this is me giving my own testimonial. Okay. As Empower Nurses Consult, we have a collaboration with various institutions in healthcare, in education, in migration, and in business development management. We actually, at some point, got into partnership with Canada Hub Partners, and I recommended some of our clients to Canada Hub Partners. Okay, I want these people to be able to get a job and to be able to get support to get work permit in Canada. To be honest, they got their job. They started the application in November. They got their jobs in less than 2 months, and in April, many of them received
April.
they received invitation for their biometrics. Surprisingly, in May, most of them already have their work permits
Their
and
passports, yeah. Yeah.
they already in 1 month. So,
Their visas.
what I want you guys to take up is that these people like Ms. Obilo, Mr. Daniel, because they are regulated, they are not going to overpromise you. They are not going to make you feel excited to jump into it. It is we that know that this is the story, because we are like the people mobilizing. We know the way it is and how to make it available to you. It's actually faster than that. Trust me, it's actually faster than that. The marks that I've seen, let's say for example, if you start the process now in May, I can tell you that most, for my experience, I'm just sharing my experience, don't quote my experience, that you are most likely going to get your job and your visa before Christmas. And you're going to spend a white Christmas in Canada. So people are getting it very, very fast. Especially if you're coming from Philippines, if you're coming from India, much more faster than in Nigeria. So guys, if you feel getting a work permit is going to have a lot of change in your career, it's going to make a lot of difference in your family, it's going to make a lot of positive progress for you in your profession, kindly do well to reach out to Canada Hub Partners. And Toby, kindly input the Instagram link handle for Canada Hub Partners. It is at Canada Hub Partners. So let us have that on the school message, and I'll also get the direct email. So Mrs. Obilo can send me the direct email. We can also have on the school message. I think is it info at Canada Hub, right?
Yeah, info at Canada Hub Partners. And our Instagram is Canada Hub Partners. I also like to say here that, when people ask us why Canada, like Mr. Princeville knows why. I can tell you for a fact.
I
Because he's
know why.
tasted
Oh, I know
the
why.
best of both worlds. He's been in the UK as a nurse and he's here now.
Yeah.
So, in all honesty, I'm not trying to cajole or I'm trying to, encourage or tell you, hey, Canada is the best. We've had nurses come all the way from the UK just because somehow the timeline of Canada was taking longer. You understand? So we have nurses who came through us and who can testify to the fact that with Canada, my plans for becoming a permanent resident is more feasible. It's short-lived.
Hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now there's a policy, like I said again, I am not an immigration consultant. For more in-depth immigration questions, our immigration head or our legal team is always on standby to answer your questions. And if you're coming from Empire North, we'll do well to give you a discount to talk immigration,
Ooh!
basically.
As
We'll
always.
to
Always.
give you a discount. So
Yeah.
you're not paying $200 or $300 to talk to our immigration consultant, basically. So all I'm just trying to say is there's a policy that came into place recently, and the policy is after 12 months of working as a nurse, a nursing oddly, a nurse aide, or personal support worker, and you've worked out your hours, you can actually go into the pool and apply to become a permanent resident.
That's the next part we're going to talk about now.
In
So
12
yeah,
months.
yeah. So now that this is the next part, and because I want us to take the conversation from point A to point
Yeah.
B, and of course to the area we're going to have all the juices coming in now. So yeah, a lot of people say, okay, yes, I'm going to come to Canada. You say, oh, I cannot get a job as a nurse. I'm going to work as a nurse assistant. So people want to know how long will they work as a nurse assistant? So is it going to be a contractual agreement where, okay, you have to work with 1 hour for 1 year, 2 years, or 2 years? What is what's the minimum time they must work as a nurse assistant before they can actually move out of that employment? And of course, you want to let us know what type of employment do you have available for nurses? Is it a closed work permit or an open work permit, so you can differentiate between the two? Thank you.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we have coming through the LMI, of course, it's a closed work permit, basically,
Yeah.
from what we've seen over the years, right?
Yeah.
You're actually on a contract with a particular employer. Now, I like to say this when people come into Canada, I know we're all smart, intelligent people, but I'd like us to tone it down a bit. In this part of the world, a contract is a contract. Don't let somebody coming and tell you, hey, I can take you somewhere, I can take you to some other province. They're not going to know you're going to work for somebody else. You'll be caught along the line. We've seen instances where people try to be smart and they complicate the whole process. And when your immigration pathway is compromised already, you're just in for disaster, basically. So, yes, it's a contract. You're coming in here based on a contract, basically. Sometimes it's for 1 year. The most I've seen is a 2-year contract. I've also seen some people who renew it after a certain time, basically, maybe because they still want to work or they've not been able to write the exams that Empower Nurses will take you through. You understand, when you come in and they're like, oh, I need more hours. Or sometimes they couldn't make up the hours and they're like, I just want to renew my contract. Now that is now going to be based on you and your employer. As an employer, if you do good, they'll do you good. That's all I have to say. Yeah. And also try to pair up with employers who are reasonable. So yes, you have a contract term with an employer. You're only allowed to work for them and nobody else until the term is over.
Oh wow, thank you very much. I mean, you just mentioned that it is very very possible to get a job, and of course, when you come into Canada, you're going to have a minimum requirement of 1 year to work with an employer, and after that 1 year, you can then move to the next step. And I think the most interesting part is that, I mean, you know what it means to be in Nigeria, and you have somebody that can link you to an employer and also support you with your immigration. I think that's a big deal, guys. So getting on, it means that on arriving in Canada, you are almost going to start working immediately. You're going to start
Yes.
earning in Canadian dollars. So I think that's a big deal. And it's also a big win for you as well if you're keen into this initiative. So Mr. Daniel is still with us on the live show. When you can come up, please, with your feet, just kind of unmute your mic and your video so we can also have you engaged in this conversation. So you can
Yeah, I
see.
think he's having an issue with the volume.
Okay.
Yeah, or the network. Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
Can you?
so I can hear you.
Oh, we can hear
Um,
him now.
Yeah.
I can hear you, but the volume coming from your end is a bit low for me, right?
Oh,
I don't have a headset to really capture everything that you're saying. But if you do have a question for me that you'd like me to respond to, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Yeah,
yeah.
but we can hear you very clearly, though.
We can hear you clearly now. So we're just
Very
saying that
clear.
just
Yes,
yeah, as a senior partner with Canada Hub Partners, can you just talk to us about
right.
services that you offer overall?
Sorry, repeat that again.
Talk about some of your services that you provide to people across the world overall. Overall services that you provide to people, because people want to know about your company, what
About
service
that.
you
So
provide.
services that we provide, right?
Yeah, yeah,
As an
yeah,
organization, is that correct?
yeah. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right. Great. Um, I know the conversation is being around, getting nurses to Canada to come and work, and the process of supporting them through their immigration process, the timeline, and all that. But I also just want to point out that Canada Hub Partners is not about just nurses, right? We do
That-
have a lot of things that we do,
yeah,
even in the area of helping people secure jobs. We have a model that actually appeals to different people in different field of expertise, right? So it's not just nurses. So
yeah,
what we do as an organization, we are a consulting company. Basically, our job is to um, identify a problem and look for the solution. If the solution is within our organization, we provide it. If it's not, we outsource it, or we go look for the solution and we make sure that we bring that solution to the clients that we're dealing with at the time. And that's actually how we came up with this whole idea of helping people secure jobs in Canada, because we identified a loophole between Canadian employers looking for dedicated workers. And then on the flip side of things, we found that there are quite a bit of foreigners looking for jobs, right? Where they can, stay dedicated and provide their services. And that's basically how we came up with this idea of approaching Canadian employers and giving them reasons to begin to look outside of the borders of Canada when it comes to hiring. Just consider people that live abroad, and a lot of them are actually opening up to that idea, especially since after COVID.
Mhm.
um, it's become increasingly challenging to get like locals that want to take on a job and stay committed, you know and considering the fact that the world has become a global village with the aid of internet and social media, so you can be anywhere around the world and still uh, try to connect with an employer, especially in this case in Canada. So Canada Hub Partners, we basically provide different kind of services that includes employment for people looking for it. We provide like sometimes government projects for companies. If you're looking at investing in Canada and you don't know how to go about it, we actually have people that can walk you through the whole process of coming and looking at the different areas where there are investment opportunities in Canada, and you're able to key into that as well. So LMIA is one of the things that we do, dealing with nurses and helping them out, naturalize in Canada, securing jobs and all that. Those are some of the things that we do. So there are a lot more. If you want to find out more about us, I think you talked about our website earlier and our Instagram page.
yeah.
Those are like where you can get to find out more about us. And of course, you can connect with us via email, and then we'll be glad to listen to you, find out what you're looking for. And as a consulting company, we are able to provide that solution that you're looking for.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Toby, can you just pop up the email again for those that have, because I can see people saying put WhatsApp number. Guys, It's because we Empower Nurses Consult, we are with you from like we are local. And Canada Hub Partners, they are global, they are international. You cannot expect me to come and put their WhatsApp number on the
You
live.
go through Empower Nurses, please.
Exactly.
Please
Yeah,
go
and
through Empower Nurses.
yeah, and we don't mind giving their email. So Toby, please put the email right there. info@canadahubpartners.com. Okay. So put
Yeah.
the email straight up. We don't mind going. You can go directly to them. We don't have anything to hide. Reach out to them directly. So in Empower Nurses
And
Consult, which
And one thing, when you're contacting us, please tell us you're from Empower Nurses.
oh great.
We would like to also would like to reiterate that it's best to come through them. Basically,
Yeah.
come through them, and you can still follow us on Instagram. But I mean, come through them
Yeah,
if you can.
exactly. So Canada Hub Partners, trust me, this organization is the future. I know, like I said, these people will not come out to tell you exactly how much they can do for you. Let me tell you, people, forget that they are here. I want to spill it out. If you come as a nurse to Canada, they are not just going to help you to get a work in Canada and get a work permit. They are going to continuously support you on what you need to become an RN in Canada. They're going to provide continuous support for the best pathway for you to become a permanent resident in Canada. Because I mean, the goal of traveling out of Nigeria is to what? Have your papers in your hand. Everybody want to have your papers. So Canada Hub Partners can help you between 1 to 2 years to actually provide support for you to actually get a permanent residence. And not just that, they also have people that can support you in mortgage advisory. You want to get a house as a nurse, they have business consultant they can recommend you to actually help you to support you in getting your mortgage to get your house in Canada. So they have overall support to actually provide to you. Okay, you want to start up a business, you're a business executive in Nigeria as a nurse, you want to incorporate your business in Canada, they are going to recommend you also on the best model on how to convert your business name to in Canada, how to register your company. So they have an incorporation that can actually help you with all of that. So it's not just a nursing, immigration, and job company. They are an holistic company that can make everything you need desirable as when you need them. So guys, key into this opportunity, info@canadahubpartners.com. Instagram is Canada Hub Partners. I want you guys to blow their Instagram page today. Go there, let them know that you guys are there. Follow them, scroll to all their messages, like all their posts, share them. Canada Hub Partners is the future. I mean, most of us have benefited from Canada Hub Partners, and I cannot just keep it. I know a lot of nurses that if we invite them now to come on this live section, they can testify on how Canada Hub Partners have helped them, all right, without writing any exam, and they are now in Canada. So now we're going to move straight to the next part, permanent residency. As a nurse coming to Canada to work, I mean, 1 year employment or 2 year, let's say 1 year employment, which is the most popular one. What opportunities are available? How soon? For example, if I work with Canada or partner employer for 1 year and I completed my hours, how soon can it take me to apply for a permanent residency?
Okay, so I would like to say this again. Every in-depth information you need, our immigration consultant will be waiting. But from what
Yeah.
I've seen, when you are sure, from this is what we have seen over the years, nurses who start to approach 1,000 hours, like 1,000 work hours, what they do is they go write their IELTS. Now, take note, you don't need IELTS to come into Canada, but you need IELTS for your permanent residence, processing. Now, the permanent resident processing IELTS, I think it's not up to 8 compared to what you would need when you're coming from Nigeria. You've had a work experience already in Canada for like a year. I can say it's about 5 or 6. And again, people get scared when they hear IELTS. I don't know, but for me, this is my own experience. It might not be for you. I feel in a way the IELTS exams in Canada are easier than in any other place. Nigeria, I don't know, but this is just what I feel. Because another thing we would like to reiterate, Canada Hub was bettered from our own experiences. So we saw these things and we don't want you guys making that mistakes, or we want to guide you guys. So do not be afraid that, oh, I have to write IELTS finally. Yes, you have to, but it's not at that benchmark of 7.5 or 8 where you would have written if coming from Nigeria or Philippines or any other place, basically, or India. You get? So after you've done your, or when you've gotten to your 1,000 hour um time, we would advise you to start registering or register for your IELTS. You create your express entry profile, which our immigration consultant will help you, or our legal team would help you fix that. You're in the right hands. All we'll just say is once you've worked up to a particular hour, and we usually advise from 1,000 hours, you come back to us, hey, I'm ready to apply for my PR, and then we'll put you to the process. You understand? Now, draws are done differently in Canada, their immigration thing, IRCC. So we always advise you jump into the pool earlier, as early as you can, so that the next draw, you might just be the one they will tell, hey, invitation to apply, come apply for your PR. So that's what would advise.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Again, like she rightly mentioned, it is possible to get your direct permanent residency. And let me even confess, one of the main reasons why I left England for Canada was because of the option for facilitated permanent residency.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you know.
You took a while to say that. Thank
Yeah, I have
you.
to say it. I have to say. I don't like
I've been
sharing.
waiting for you to say that, but you took a while.
I have to say, I mean, in England, you can quote me anywhere. The minimum requirement you need as a nurse, as a skilled worker on tier 2 visa is actually 5 years. Minimum of 5 years for you to apply. People will have to wait for like 6, 7 years, especially if you have challenge with your DBS. But in Canada, in 1 year, guys, in 1 year of working as a nurse assistant or as a PSW, you can actually put into the Canada permanent residency, and you have multiple pathways through the Atlantic Immigration Program, through the Canada Experience Class, Express Entry, Provincial Nomination. There are more ways. And Obilo, again, she's trying to be conservative. I will tell you, if you apply for a permanent residency, it would not take more than 6 months for you to have a decision. This is from my experience, okay? It will not take you more than 6 months. People get decision in 3 months, in 4 months, depending on the program you're going through. And she was talking about IELTS being easier. She means that in Canada, you write a version of IELTS called the general version. But if you're going in Canada, you write general version. But if you're going to England to work as a nurse, you write academic.
UK,
Yeah,
academic.
the general version means this person probably, okay, person have what we call SSC in Nigeria. This person probably do not have a professional degree. So it is more of like it's called general, anybody.
Yeah, more like your day-to-day
Day to day,
English. Yeah,
exactly.
you
But
understand.
I
So
can
you
tell
can't compare that with the UK. You
no.
guys read a lot for that
I,
thing.
yeah, I've taken both versions, guys. I've taken academic version, I've taken general version. I can tell you, as a nurse that you are now, as you are there seated on your table, your laptop, and your chair, if you write the general version of IELTS tomorrow, you're going to score a good bank score
Yes.
for free.
Yeah,
And
I always,
yeah,
sorry for I always say this. We have worked with nurses who barely understand English, right? And they make it.
of course they do.
So I always tell people, if some of these people from this nationality can make a 6 comfortably after working here for 1 year, or make a 7, I mean,
You get
English is your first language, you can make more.
Oh, trust me, you will definitely. And if the name IELTS is still giving you nightmare, there's what we call SERPI or SERBAN. These are alternative.
Okay.
These are alternative English tests that you could actually take if that IELTS, for example, some people have written IELTS 8 times in Nigeria to go to
You
England.
know,
So they have palpitation when they hear the name IELTS already.
we were
Yeah.
all in that boat at
Yeah,
a certain
yeah.
point.
So if you
Like
there
like
be
I told you,
yeah,
Canada Hub is our experience. We turned
yeah,
our experience
yeah,
and we're trying to channel it so you don't make the mistakes we made, basically.
absolutely.
And let me just add one more thing to that, right? The
Yes.
one thing Canada Hub Partner would do for you is, as opposed to, like Obilo said at the beginning, we're not just an agent. We actually take you through the process. By the time you're done going through our process, it will take you away from that place where you're afraid to get things done. And because in Canada, you practically do everything for yourself, right? So our process will train you and prepare your mind so that way you begin to understand how things are done in Canada. So including when you're ready to write your exam, your English exam, you're not scared anymore. I think the one challenge that we've seen so far from dealing with especially people from Nigeria is the fact that they often would deal with an agent that does everything. You know what?
Mhm.
Just pay me some money
See
and I
that
will do
house.
everything, including filling out your form, writing your name,
Exactly.
your first and last name. We don't do that. We make you write your first and last name yourself. And then if there's any kind of error, we fix it and then we guide you through the process. And you'll be amazed at how you become an immigration consultant yourself from just going through that whole process.
Awesome. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that level of you being able to be dependent on yourself. Because, I mean, Canada is a country where you need to do things by yourself. Actually, as a nurse, an essential part of our
Okay.
job is documentation. All right, documentation, you electronic make documentation. So you need to start getting ready mentally and of course psychologically to get that done as well. All right,
Thank you.
we're about to clock 1 hour mark on this section today. Mr. Prince Will from Empower Nurses Consult, and we have Obilo and Mr. Daniel from Canada Hub Partners who are joining us today. And for so far, I think we have over
Thank you.
120 people streaming live, and we still have some time to take some more questions. So I just share the link again, share with your friends. And the good part about it is that you can actually come back to actually watch this video because the replay is going to be on this channel for free. Okay, we're not going to make it private. We're going to make it accessible for you so you can actually watch every information that we've shared here today. All right, so still talking about Canada, I'm just going to share a little about my own journey just to probably inspire you, not to persuade you anyway, just to inspire you to actually think about Canada. So I started my own journey to come to Canada, and I got support, I got help, I got a visa, and transitioned into from being a care assistant. I'm also transitioning to become a registered nurse. So it's been like one step at a time, and you have
Mhm.
very, very patient, okay? You don't just expect everything to happen to you at once. You have to be very, very patient to go through the entire process. Trust me, if you understand the implication of becoming a Canadian nurse, you will definitely want to be patient enough to follow the entire process through. So, guys, Canada is worth it in terms of the salary, in terms of the permanent residency. I mean, if you come here as a work with a work permit, you get your
Yeah.
permanent residency in 3 years.
Yeah, and another thing is when they come with that work permit, if they are married, their partners have an open work permit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's another unique selling proposition.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you, for example, you're a female nurse and you are married, if your husband come, your husband can get an open work. Open work permit means he can do any job of his
You
choice.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An engineer, if he's a processing expert, and he could also have a company where, like I say, he enjoys driving. He can
Mhm.
actually register to actually own, get an Uber and actually do that as well to actually make more money. So there are people who are doing a lot of jobs here. Open work permit, you can work in any industry, any sector, and there's no limit to how much you can actually work. So I'm talking about visa requirements. Ms. Obilo is going to refer us to our immigration team. And if you have any question, Toby, kindly open the question and answer box. Toby, unmute your microphone and let's see your screen. We also have Toby with me. Toby is also very, very important and instrumental to making this meeting work today. So it's going to be anchoring the question and answer section. So Toby, just go on checking for questions, and in the next 1 or 2 minutes, you should take up our question and answer section. So I'm going to be talking about the transitioning process, guys. So for a nurse in Canada. So when Canada help you to get a job as a PSW, as a CCA, and they recommend you to get visa from the immigration department, you arrive and start working as a PSW. What's a PSW? PSW means a personal support worker, just like what you have CSW in England. In England, we have clinical support workers, right? These are people who are trained but they are not regulated. There's no regulatory body regulating their practice because they do not have like a license, but they have a general governing council that regulate what they do part-time. So as a PSW, your job involves supporting client resident with their needs. For example, supporting them to take a shower, assisting them with mobility, assisting them with safe transportation and ambulation from the bed to the wheelchair to the walk with using their walker, helping them with psychological care, having to talk to them and reassure them emotionally, supporting them with their food and nutrition if they need to eat, if they need assistance with feeding, supporting them so they don't have to choke or they don't have to eat faster than expected, supporting them in their overall grooming, help them to take their lunch, help them to change their clothes when wet and all of those things. And if they have medications to take, you can actually help to remind them of when they actually should take their medication as well. If they have hospital visit, hospital appointment schedule, you can also be the person to support them in transporting them to the hospital. If they have a diagnostic investigation to conduct, you can also support them to the laboratory centers as well for them to have those type of investigations. So basically, it's like activities of daily living. What you do for your grandmom who has high blood pressure, what you do for your grandfather who has a cerebrovascular accident, as a stroke. So it's that same care. Don't be scared, don't be frightened. It's that same care. So you can be doing that while you are processing to get your license. For example, if you are coming to provinces like Ontario, in Ontario, you need to take the NCLEX examination and complete the NNS assessment, which you can actually complete between 1 to 2 years as well. So just while you're doing the job, create time, start your application. We are here for you, Empower Nurses Consult, to take you through that process on how to get registered with your NNS, get registered with your NCLEX, the body as well. And now things are much more easier with provinces like Nova Scotia. In provinces like Nova Scotia, you can actually now, unlike before, you have to go through CGNFS, Joseph Seeley to get authorization to test to write NCLEX. With Nova Scotia direct application, you can get authorization to write your NCLEX, and definitely you are.
This call. The reason you're on this call is because we started the process of your.
I think I was getting a feedback. Toby, are you there?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. I think Obilog dropped, and I was getting feedback from Daniel. Okay. Anyway, once Obilog is back home, are we getting questions yet? Because I can't see the live message from my end.
Oh yeah, questions are coming in already.
Okay, so let's get Obilog back on the show so she can take some of the questions. Just a minute, let me just reach out to Obilog so she can take some questions. Oh, Miss Obilo is back. Okay, so Miss Obilo,
Yeah.
I know.
Sorry, I stepped out a minute there. Sorry about that.
Okay, yeah. We have 55 minutes now. We've spent 55 minutes. So in the next 5 minutes, we just want to take questions because we schedule this for 1 hour. We know you have your schedule and you have your planned activities for the weekend. So, Mr. Toby, we're going to be taking the questions, and you're going to be supporting the people viewing with the answers as well. So Toby, just pop up, send the question, or you want to read it out, or you want to pop it up for her. Ms. Obilo can take up the questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Prince. Mrs. Obilo, thank you so much for the clarity so far. There are some questions right here,
Okay.
but I think some of these questions have been answered during the course of the presentation, but I'll just pick out the ones that need emphasis. So someone is asking, how do we begin this whole process? Can you give us a website? I think.
Okay, yeah, I think you answered that before, but I'm if I could just type it. First of all, I said it will be easier to go through Empower Nurses Consult, basically, because we have like an agreement with them. So everybody on this call who would like to get across to us, we're going to put the website, but please go across or contact Empower Nurses, and they'll get back to us. The reason why we say this is because we have quite a lot of people at the same time calling, sending out information, or sending in information and inquiries. We just want to regulate the kind of information that goes there, that goes out. We've been in a situation where somebody will call us and say, oh, somebody told us to pay $1,000 for a form. And I'm like, where is that from? You know, and they're like, oh, somebody. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to streamline our channels to partners that we work with. There's a reason we're called Canada Hub Partners. So everybody on this call, kindly follow us on Instagram and kindly get across to Empower Nurses. I don't know, Empower Nurses, if you can also drop your email, that would be great.
Yeah, I just sent our WhatsApp and email. Just
they get across to Empower Nurses, but you can follow us on Instagram also at Canada Hub Partners. Our email is also info@canadahubpartners.com. But like I said, if you are on this call and you really want to get like a swift answer or something that is, or get an information that is sure, please go through Empower Nurses. A lot of information have been flying out there. We've been getting calls from so many people, and we don't even know where they're getting this information from. And they'll say, oh, they called us. So we're trying to streamline the kind of information that goes out. We are working with partners. So you go with this partner, they come to us. So they are your go-to while they talk to us. At the point where you're signed up with them, they can now easily transition you to us. And of course, we know that you are from Empower Nurses International.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
Prince, you want to say
And
something?
if you want to, we're already getting some emails. They are from Empower Nurses. Please kindly note, we'll try to put you back to them. We'll try to push you back to them. Don't be angry. We're just trying to regulate the kind of information that is going out there. If you notice, you were in this program, you notice that even there were some things I couldn't say because our immigration head or our legal team has to answer that. So that's how we're answerable to whatever we do in Canada here. So for the emails we're seeing coming in already, we're still going to refer you back to Empower Nurses, and they'll let you know the next step.
Thank you very much. Toby,
Yeah.
you can go with the questions.
All right. Thank you so much for that. There is a question here, but I'm not sure there will be a direct answer to that. But
Okay.
if an estimate can be given, someone is asking how much will this whole thing cost? Like, what is the cost like for all of these processes?
Okay. Like I said, please go back to Empower Nurses again. They do all of that. We are very serious about the kind of information we give out, right? So Empower Nurse is more like our arm, is an outstretched arm of Canada Hub that'll let you know all of the process. They take you through it. Then when we get to the immigration part, we hand you over to our immigration team. But yes, there are legal fees attached to this process. Basically, it is not free. Some people call and say, I need a job. Somebody told me it is free. So we we pay our legal team, right? Yeah, it's the immigration people. It's not free. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Someone is asking if you process study route for nurses as well.
Yes, we also do that. We also process study visas, international bridging courses for nurses. We do all that for them too. Basically, your masters and all that. Anything that has to do with education, we also do that. But like I said, also, please, Empower Nurses will be your go-to. Trust me, Empower Nurses is your Canada hub that you're seeing.
Right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Obilo. Someone is asking, yeah, I think it has been addressed as well, but then let me bring this up again. It says that if you are a registered nurse, after getting your PR, is there a provision for further studies to get your degree and maybe further your education?
Yes. So
After
after
getting
you're
your
getting your
PR.
permanent residence, you're
Yeah.
automatically now paying your fees as a domestic student. You're not paying that paid money again for studies. When you get your PR, you're not entitled to work for anybody. If you do not wish to work for anyone and you want to further your education, please, the ball is in your court. You don't need any, just walk into any school and apply, and there you go. PRO is
Great.
almost like your permanent residence is almost like your in a way you're a native, or let me say you're permanently here. So what a domestic student will get is now what you're getting. The fees a domestic or a Canadian will pay is now what you're paying, not an international student fees anymore. Yeah. So after PRO, you can further your education.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I have a lot of questions here about the LMIA, and I don't know if in 1 minute you can just simplify that so that people would know what it means, what it is used for, what are the opportunities and benefits attached to it, just in a very simple terms. There are a lot of questions asking what does LMIA means and how does that work?
Okay, so
Yeah,
LMIA, like I said again, I guess they missed it. It's called the
yeah.
Labor Market Impact Assessment. And LMIA is an approval, or it's an approval that a Canadian employer will get from Canada to be able to employ foreigners to come work for them. So, like I said before, some people walk up to me and say, I have an employment letter and I want a work permit. I'm like, it doesn't work like that for this stream. To come work as a nurse aide or most of the jobs, you need a positive LMIA. A positive LMIA means that the Canadian employer has been approved to employ foreigners to come work in Canada. So that's what you need. So you're all, anyone who's on this call is also an ambassador to please help curb the rate of scam going on. We hear some stories and we shed tears. People spend money. So if you can tell your friends, an employment letter, it's not what you need to get a visa. So tell them to stop falling for that scam of, I have an employment letter and I'm going to get my visa. No, I'm going to apply for my visa. No. Most jobs here need that LMIA approval. It is not easy to get. Trust me. It's a whole process. And that process, like I said, our legal team is in charge of that. Once you get a positive LMIA, that is when our immigration team or our immigration consultants will now put that together with your employment letter and apply for a work visa for you. Please, if you can share this story, this link, let people know that that agent somewhere in Lagos telling you that I have a job for you, I have an employment letter, and you're going to use that to get a job or work permit. Please share the news. Tell them it is scam. They should keep their monies. If they don't know what to do with it, they could invest in it or invest with it. Please.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that as well. Okay, a couple of other questions there, but I think really a lot of questions right there have been answered. So I'm just going to appeal to everyone probably just joining the call
Just
to go back and watch this session all over again. A lot of questions right here have been answered at one point or the other during this webinar. Okay, I'm trying to pull out another question here. Okay, at the time we talked about reasonable employers. I think we were discussing about getting jobs right there. So you mentioned a particular keyword, reasonable employers, right? I think can you throw more light on that? And how do you support nurses from Nigeria apart from processing their document and all of those things? How do you support international nurses to get jobs or to get access to reasonable employers? Is there any service like that you offer as well?
So when I say reasonable employers, in the sense that we vet every employer we work with, we make sure that they are going to treat our or whoever comes through us with dignity, right? There are some people who, after they come in here, like you heard my business partner talk, Mr. Daniel Lauren, he said something like, when you're coming to Canada, Canada Hub is going to hold your hands through the process, even while you're in Canada. We have people who walk up to us and tell us some gory stories and some threatening things from their employers, and we let them know what their right is. Because in Canada, even if you're a temporary foreign worker, you have a right. You have a right, right? So somebody cannot just come play on you and you're afraid. You should be able to speak out. So that's what Canada Hub is also here. Apart from helping you secure your job here, we are also here to listen to you. If it is something that will need to escalate, our legal team will be there to speak to you on how to go about it amicably, provided you're fulfilling your own part of the contract. Because some people wouldn't show up to work, and when the employer goes, they're like, oh, this employer is not nice to me. No, you have your own end of the bargain to fulfill. You have to show up to work. You said you were coming to work in Canada, so you should come work. You can't come and tell us, oh, my baby is sick and I can't come to work for the past. You didn't tell us it was a relocation process for your family. You told us you were going to work. So all that our legal team will handle So that's basically what we do. Yeah.
Okay, great. There's something I need to address right now. I think I can see a couple of comments saying Empower Nurses does not respond to email. I will address that shortly, but let me take this question, which will be probably the second to the last one, if
Okay.
there is any other one, right? Someone is asking, can, as a nurse, can you write CELBAN in Nigeria and use it in Canada?
Oh yes, you can
I think
write
that's
CELPIP anywhere. CELPIP
okay.
IELTS, you write it anyway. It's accepted basically. Now, apart for the mail part, I don't know about that, but
Yeah, I would address
yeah,
that now.
okay. I was going to say, even if you mail us because they don't answer, we will still mail them back, and we will still tell them that from Empower North, these are the people talking to us. Please do well to answer them and then refer us through the right process. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Prince, would you like to say something about the email, or I should just respond to that?
Okay, respond to it, then I will add on it when you respond.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I think that the major issue with emails or Empower Nurses not responding to emails, first discard that thought. Empower Nurses responds to email. But then you saying that Empower Nurses does not respond to email, go back and check the email you're sending. You're sending an email without a subject. You're sending an email saying ZOB, Empower Nurses Consult. You're sending an email saying I need your help. Full stop. You're sending an email without and there is no regard. There is nothing. We don't know where it is coming
There's no
from.
opening
You are
message.
sending. You are sending an official email with the email that says "I love my life" at gmail.com. Come on. Empower Nurses is a registered organization. Is a global organization. Is an organized platform, not a WhatsApp group page, right?
Yeah,
It's not a WhatsApp group page. So
exactly.
please, Prince, you can go ahead. I think
Yeah,
you want to say something.
Sorry, before you go ahead, Mr. Principal, we need to jump into another meeting.
yeah.
We have a
Okay.
meeting for the people who were just approved
Yeah,
their visas. Yeah.
we're kind into
So
streaming.
please,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
if you
think
can
last
kindly
question, the last question I want you to just take before we excuse you is,
okay.
I want you to clarify the area of family. I know you've talked about that before. Can somebody come with the family, and what is involved with coming with their family members? Is it okay? Like,
Yes.
talk about open work permit, their kids, their children. What type of visa will the kids get? What type of visa will the children get if they are above 18 or below 18? So how can family get support when they are migrating to Canada with their work permit? That's just the
Yeah.
final. Yeah.
So as a primary applicant, let's say you're a nurse and you're the primary applicant coming, yes, you're eligible to come with your family. However, like I always say, our legal team would advise you. This is what we do during the process, right? When it's time to apply for the visa, every candidate speaks with our immigration head, with our immigration consultant. They would view your case one at a time. If you do not have all that they need to bring your family in, they would advise you better. I've seen cases where they say, why don't you come in alone? And then when you get all the supporting documents, you bring in your family. I've also seen cases where they say, if you want to bring your family in, this is what you need, this is what you need, this is what you need. If you get that from their own experience of over 10 years in this business, they can assure you that at least, yeah, you have a higher chance of being, approved. So everything boils down again to our immigration team. Yes, you're the primary applicant, is you the employer needs, but it doesn't stop you from coming from with your family, right? Because the Canadian government has made provision for that, to apply with your family, your children, your husband or your wife is going to have an open work permit, which allows them to work anywhere they find in Canada. Your kids are going to have study permits too, so they could go to school, basically. So that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Obilo. We're going to let her go now. Please,
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for showing. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Yeah, bye. Yeah. All right, guys. Toby's just going to leave our WhatsApp message. Those of you that want to send instantaneous message, Toby can just put it there, 070-6964-6143, and we'll definitely be able to respond to you real time on WhatsApp. But sorry about those that felt offended from not sending email. We're going to be much more, we'll take more responsibility in ensuring that your email are replied. And of course, we'll ensure that we continue to provide you with information, opportunities to empower you, just like the name of our company has stated, Empower Nurses Consult. Thank you very much once again. The full information about our WhatsApp group link, our WhatsApp number, our email address is going to be on the description of this YouTube live section. All right, until the next time, continue to make the rest of your lives the best of your life. Sign off now. Bye.